Hello and welcome to Chesapeake Today Show. It's your Executive Director, David Loop.
And Candace Montgomery, Director of Life Enrichment.
So we are into April.
Yeah.
Last week, did you do any April Fools?
Well, I have to say my husband got me because that night before April Fool's, we had that big thunderstorm. And a while back, months ago, there was a big tree that fell on my car when we had a big thunderstorm, right?
Okay.
And high winds and everything, a dead tree. So the first text that I wake up to is, another tree fell on your car. And I immediately run to the window and there's nothing. And I was like, okay, you got me.
Yeah.
But I was immediately like, wow, okay, I didn't need to wake up to that. But yeah, he was definitely in the spirit of April Fool's.
And okay. Because that's an immediate alarm. What I get challenged by is I want to try to think of something that could be fun,
Yeah.
but I don't want it to be hurtful. I don't want to say something. It's like, that's where I find my challenge
Yeah.
between because my footer may not be the same as
I
another
know.
person's. And, and like with Vera, what can I say to make her laugh? We do it often anyways, but.
But social media will get you because there was one, Fort Monroe actually put on their Facebook site that they were going to be having a petting zoo coming. And it got so many people in the comments who were like, this is a great idea, blah, blah, blah. And then they came back and said, just kidding,
Yeah.
April Fool's. So all these families are bummed.
See, what I would have done in Fort Monroe, I would have said, we have a new pet edition. We've been able to introduce alligators into our moat.
Oh my gosh, that's a good one.
That would have been fun.
Slightly frightening,
Yeah,
but
but still a little bit surreal because,
Right.
wait, they don't live in this
a
area.
possibility, yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. I know Clint's school, they did a day of just kind of different types of pranks for the elementary kids of like homework, not like they had to, I forget what he said, they had to search for something and then it was like a joke by the time they got to the end of the scavenger hunt or whatever. So, I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities.
Yeah. I didn't do it in my trivia. I don't know the origins of the day.
I don't either, to be honest with
So
you. I
I'm
really
sure,
don't.
back to when we asked any of our followers if they're watching us, they can call in and
interesting.
let us know, educate us.
Yes.
But, yeah. So last week we had, after April Fools, then we had the implementation of the e-menu choice.
On April Fool's.
On
but
April Fool's.
Successfully, though.
And to Kurt, Anisha, and their team, high praise. They just really did a lot of work into this. And Chef Julian, a lot of things he had to do in entering the menus and
Yes.
things.
A lot of prep work.
The staff, the team, phenomenal. You and Paula were stellar in helping us with resident registration,
Yeah,
communications, etc.
Help tables, yes.
The help
info,
desk last
yes,
week.
Yeah.
And we put out that little POS Express, trying to just hear your questions and give a quick response. And there still may be some things this week we continue to learn, but
Oh, yeah.
I think Kurt's extremely proud of the team. The servers, they're amazing. They just quickly get into it. They start touching the technology, and they just are going at it.
I think it's very
and helping
user
each other.
friendly. I really do.
Yeah.
It's less, it seems like it's complicated for a new person just coming in, like a resident seeing it, but it's going to be a lot more user friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And I
really is.
think, what we continue to try to say, there are many residents, and some of you watching perhaps, you don't use technology. That's fine. Go down and enjoy a nice meal. We'll use the system to hopefully improve your experience. Use the concierge or a friend to make reservations. Nothing changes.
Right.
But for those who do like technology, it's giving them information and ability to transact
Right.
that they didn't have before.
Exactly.
So, very fine. But
Yeah.
anyways, we were the second community. 3 of our sister communities are yet to follow, but I think we've all paved a nice way. Hopefully the Q&A and other things we've done has been helpful. But
And I think building each community is making the next implementation better because everybody's learning things along the way. So the folks that
Yeah.
come after us are really going to have a lot of things solved.
they will. And
Which is great.
And it's good. And I think that's why you have some centralization and things that are constant.
Most definitely.
So that was big.
That's exciting.
And then Candace, we cut open another roof last week.
I know, we like to do that.
Really, I mean, I think third time's a charm. Let's do no
Exactly.
more than 3.
Right.
So our Newport residents should have full awareness of that opening and closing of the Newport roof.
Right.
That third, and I want to say these were almost 7,000 pounds. They're a little bit bigger
gosh.
than the one that went in. So this is identical to the one that went into the Yorktown the previous week. But getting that new Desert Air system, getting it all hooked up, it's not like fine tuning the engine because we got all 8 cylinders now. because before we had like 6 cylinders, which was the actual apartment air conditioning, and some units in common areas.
Sure.
But we were always missing on 2 cylinders. It wasn't full.
Right.
And now that this new unit's in the attic, now we'll be back to full, all 8 cylinders running.
Yeah.
So,
that's great.
Hopefully, well, we'll be testing it in due time with a lot of warm days, but
But-
you know, a whole expectation is we've been trying to invest so much in HVAC, get it all into new status, and we're real close.
Thankfully, we're knocking that out before that summer heat hits us.
So
Yes.
did I understand last week, were you on a walk and around a certain tree?
Yes.
What happened?
So I try to do 3 laps around each day. Sometimes I don't make it, but it's my little mental health walk. And I almost ran into this bush that I always walk past, but there was not 1, 2, but a whole swarm of honeybees, I think is what we
Yeah.
determined they were. But it was interesting of the bush that they decided to make
Nest
their
in,
home,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So immediately I texted Paula because I didn't have Andy's number. I was like, hey, if Andy's down there, shout to him that we've got a bee issue out here. So I heard that they were able to come and save the bees, which is an interesting process of being able to, did they suck them into something that, like a
Yeah.
container?
I think for many of us, we learned, and I happened to reach out to a colleague that I have here in Newport News, and I know has beehives.
Nice, okay.
So I texted him that night and said, hey,
Good.
who's a bee person?
Yeah.
And he connected us with this gentleman, and
Okay.
he has a network of people. And in some areas, there's smoke, or sort of like it dazes them. And they're
Okay.
used as smoke to help bring them safely together.
Sure.
And what I saw in the video that Doug Totten did was almost like a vacuum cleaner
Right.
that just got the queen and the worker bees, it put them into a container. So it's a safe process. They were protected, except their hands weren't. It's like,
I know.
I know.
I couldn't do it.
but then they were taking that, and they have prepared boxes for them to set up home.
Okay.
And just like they may have been traveling and using this tree, but they had built quickly.
I know.
A
That's the
home,
thing that
a
was
nest.
amazing.
They too will get acclimated to this new location.
Right.
And I think saving bees is a good thing.
It's a good
you know, and I'm grateful that it all worked out as it did. So I think we've got I think the yellow tape came down a couple days later. But we were trying to warn people, don't get around there.
You know, it's funny because when I'm walking, I always find trash or different things, but that wasn't something I
Yeah, that's what I
expected to
expected.
find.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's that.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you go out on the back area, if you ever find a raccoon family, there's a lot of
Aw,
possibilities around this,
yeah. I'd be
about
a little
our
cuter than
perimeters.
bees. I have a thing about things that can fly near me. I don't like that. So
Yeah.
that's why when Andy was like, it was so fascinating, I was like, from a distance, yes, not when you're about to walk into it.
Yeah, alarming.
Yes.
So we now move into the second week.
Gosh, I know. I mean, that was a lot to kick off April. It really was a lot
Busy week.
within the community. So yes, our first full week in April. So Monday we have our Langley shopping trip, leaving from 9:30 at the Hampton entrance. 2 p.m. Color Your Life craft class in our creative art studio. So this is with Donna Nicholson, our concierge, which we've been really trying to plug in an outlet for her with her creativity, and I'm glad that we're finally making that happen. So it's going to be on Mondays at 2. Registration is encouraged. We'll have plenty of room for folks, but we do want to make sure that we have all of our supplies for everyone that's planning on attending.
Last week I saw one evening she was working. She was demonstrating or
Was she?
illustrating some things. So as
Okay.
residents were coming up, she was using it as a promotional opportunity to attend. I
Wow.
said,
All right.
great, good. You're
That's
trying
good.
to get...
I mean, she was very prepared for the meeting that we had. She had binders set up of all of her ideas. I mean, very well prepared. So that does not surprise me. So that's exciting for sure. I know residents are excited to see her in a different way, get to know her more creative side. 3:30 p.m. the Chesapeake Singers practice in the Chesapeake room, and then handbell practice at 7 p.m. I'm so glad to see that back on the calendar.
Good.
You know, I think they're really getting back in the swing of things. Tuesday, that's the 8th, 10:45 a.m. trip to La Yaca in Williamsburg, Virginia, leaving from the Hampton entrance. I know that's a fan favorite. I haven't been there. Have you?
I have.
Okay.
It is definitely, you could drop a hint to Marcus on that special occasion.
Okay.
It's not a dinner that we will afford maybe once a
Okay.
year.
Well, my
or
10-year
whatever.
anniversary is this month, so
That's a good one.
I'll have
So
to put a bug in his ear.
I think it's a good suggestion.
Okay. 2:30 p.m. we have meet and greet in the Chesapeake Room. Living Libraries, our once-a-month friends from the Peninsula Catholic High School, coming at 3:30 in the Explorer Room. And then it's that time of year again for the Passover Seder meal. I feel like we just did that.
Yeah.
Where did that year go? So I know that reservations are strongly required for that as well. 4:30 p.m. in the Chesapeake Room. That's always a fun thing to see.
Yeah.
Just it's so fascinating, the history, and I know the rabbi particularly enjoys coming for that. So
And I think the I don't know the answer to the question, but is how many residents like to do it annually, and then how many new ones educate to the experience?
I don't know because it has a
Little bit
great
of both.
following. Yeah,
It's
for
a little
sure.
bit of both for sure. Yeah.
Wow, that's exciting. All right, and then the very next day, we've got some shopping at 10 a.m. So our regular shopping from the Hampton entrance. German class at 3 p.m. in the Explorer Room. Wine Club dinner, so 2 amazing dinners back to back. That's 5 p.m. in the Chesapeake Room. And then at 7 p.m. we do have a movie, The Miracle Club. It's in the Explorer Room. And then Thursday, we have our Pump It for Parkinson's. Did you sign up for your time slot yet?
I haven't.
Me neither, but we'll
need
get
to.
there.
And then I think I also heard that I can track steps.
Yes, so that's a nice thing
I
this year.
I always have that, and
Yes.
I may just really have to push some steps that day if I don't.
Maybe we should have some walking meetings.
We could do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
So-
it'd be
So
hilarious.
if you and I are having a meeting,
We're going to have to convince
and
Paula.
and
She's like,
Paula
"I
would
have to
just
do
say,
what?"
David, Candace is out there, catch her. You
Yeah.
got to catch her for your walking meeting.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
where
yeah.
is she?
Let's go. So that starts at 7 a.m. I know that's 7 a.m. till 6. So for residents watching, if you can't make it to the fitness center but come to those group fitness classes, if you wear an activity tracker, you can count those steps because we really are trying to beat the Glebe.
Yeah.
Like you said, they think they have some sort of robot
Yeah,
that's
they do.
counting
I
all
think
the...
they
It's
contact
rigged
with
somehow.
Virginia Tech, and they get this robot to come over and put steps on it. So yeah, they're
Victor's
just-
amazing, but he's not better than us. So I think we can do it this year. And then 10:30 a.m., we've got a trip to the Lee Hall Train Depot Museum, leaving from the Hampton entrance. 1 p.m., a greeting card class. That's with Miss Claude Felter and Miss Kay Vest in the Creative Arts Studio. Hymn Sing is 2 p.m. in the Chesapeake Room. And then we do have at 7 p.m. Bobby Black Hat in the Chesapeake Room. And then 7:15, a trip to the Williamsburg Players presents Harvey, leaving from the Hampton entrance. So a full week. We haven't even gotten to Friday yet. So Friday, 10 a.m., we have a shopping trip to Virginia Beach for the Painted Tree Boutique. I've had some questions about this. It is there's all kinds of different vendors set up inside of there. So it's a very unique shopping experience. You never know what you might find. Zumba Gold is at 10:15 a.m. in the aerobic studio. And then 2 p.m. we're doing our birdies, bogeys, and back nine. So I know you're a golf fan. The Masters is happening this
Yeah.
week. So I'm sure that's all that's going to be on the television, you know. Just kind of have to go with the flow. But we will have the Masters on the TV. However, I have told folks it will not be a quiet event, and the golf is kind of a quiet sport. But we will have some food samplings of those Masters traditions, those things that you think of, the pimento cheese, the egg salad sandwiches, the peach dessert. So Chef Julian he's had fun with this one.
Done.
Little miniature offerings of samplings. And ours will be free. I mean, the Masters charges what, $1.50, $2?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. The food has always been very reasonably priced, but it costs like $500 to get in.
I know, it's crazy.
So, yeah, so the food's
It
cheap,
is.
but yeah, you got to get there.
Right. And so then also in the room, we'll have some different golf-themed sports that we'll have in the back half of the room. Front half of the room, of course, we'll have the food, but then also like some golf puzzles and card games and different type things. So it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it, something different. 6:45 p.m. there is a trip to the Ferguson Center, presents Symphony Fantastique, leaving from the Hampton entrance. And then 7 p.m. Al is doing a travelogue of visit and fun from Facebook. And you know, we have these every once in a while that Al does with Facebook. But it's really funny to see what he puts together because it's random pictures that can be found on Facebook, whether they're funny pictures and you're trying to interpret them. So I tell folks, like, come because it's a good laugh. Like, you'll have some belly laughs with Al just because it's Al and you just never know what you're going to get. Saturday the 12th, we do have a 1:30 p.m. decorative painting class with Miss Platzman in the Creative Arts Studio. 3:30 p.m. I know the Chesapeake Singers, also formerly known as the Healthcare Choir and Friends, are gearing up for Easter. So they're having their practice. And then 7 p.m. We have a movie Out of Africa in the Explorer Room. So kind of a full week.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
A busy one.
Yeah, for sure. Leading right into Palm Sunday.
Absolutely. It's amazing how, a couple weeks away, Easter and
Easter, I
important
know.
time.
Gosh, I love this time of year when spring is upon us, and we've had a few cooler days, but some warm days sprinkled in too, and the yard work, like we talked about last time, is upon us.
So maybe for Easter and our thing, maybe we have to do some type of egg decorating, doing something. And you and I, we could compete,
We
between-
could. We
That's
could
possible.
do that.
I was watching either an infomercial or something, and I always just remember the vinegar and the little
The wire
tablets,
thing that
and
you-
then wired,
yeah,
and it was
that you had to-
colorful.
I
And then
remember
you'd
that
have
too.
this little cardboard thing. You take your egg out. I always leave it in. I love the turquoise egg. I had to get it really dark.
Yeah.
But before that, you could use the invisible crayon to write the name.
Yes,
So we
that's
did
right.
that
I
and did it
forgot
for all
about
the kids.
that.
So it
Yep,
did that. And that was good. So what I saw in the infomercial was this thing that you put the hard-boiled egg in,
Yep.
and it spins, and you're given different markers, and as it spins, you make designs.
And it's not as cool as dipping it. Because
Can't
I've
be.
done this with Clint.
Have
I'm like,
you?
this is not the same as doing the whole, because it was messier, but it was just different. I feel like
Yeah.
this is just too easy. Because yes, you just sit it there and you just have this marker and it's spinning it for you. It's just not the same.
And I guess, am I correct? It's just, all it's going to do is going to be some segment of stripes.
That's
Just-
it, really.
that's
I mean, you can do zigzag, but it
Okay.
gets a little bit more complicated because of the speed that it's going. You can only do but so much.
Yeah.
Versus with the crayon and the different things, and
Yeah.
so I like the old way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have to
So,
say. But that's
around
fun.
the corner, so that's for sure.
Most definitely.
Yeah. I know another thing in the last week or so, you and your team were able to partner with Creative, our AV company,
Yes.
and get in a few things corrected.
Correct.
I think you were able to test something.
Yeah, the
So,
loop system.
Yeah, so
yes.
how's the Chesapeake room?
It's good. Please tell us otherwise.
And we
but-
knock on wood.
And
We
yes,
have
I'll
knock
knock
on
on
wood.
something.
Come on,
Oh my
don't
gosh.
jinx it.
In both rooms, Explorer Room and Chesapeake Room. So now we have everything is set and ready to go. It was nice. Paul, our partner with Creative, he was able to work with Miss Howell, and he really enjoyed that more than I really thought that he would get into showing her the ropes and explaining the ins and outs of it. But we are able to test it, which Matthew does every once in a while when it's given issues. But it's interesting how it is tied to a software that he did have to log into and reset some things. So even if our tests don't work, then we know, okay, we've got to reach out to him to reset the software, which he said really shouldn't happen, but you know how technology is.
Yeah.
So, but it was nice that he was here. He was speedy, timely, and thanks to your suggestion for Barbara Howell, and she had fun with it too. So it was good. And she said she learned a few things that she was going to pass on to anybody that questions her about it too. So
Good. Well, getting, the sound is so important.
Yes.
And those microphones, we're always trying to get those correct and
know.
use them right. And I think we've been pretty fortunate. And those have been pretty fail-proof. That loop system was just unusual. Maybe, I don't know if it's gone out before, but it's been pretty consistent.
It's been pretty consistent.
So we did.
Yeah.
The projector and all, pretty reliable. We sometimes have a little bit more challenge with the TV or projector in the Explorer room.
I know.
Because that one,
Yeah.
Bluetooth, connectivity, are we okay both of those now?
We're okay now. Yes.
And what that means, and for residents' knowledge, we just can take a smartphone or device and move sound or music over the speakers in the Chesapeake room. Sometimes we'll do that for
Yes.
the breakfast or different things, so that's good.
Yeah, we use it in Chesapeake Room a
And
lot.
I know not long ago we were also able to check out, make sure that the lights work. So if we choose to use those for any
Yes,
performance,
I know. Yes.
so it's decent technology.
It's great
eight
technology
years
when it
old,
works.
but
When
it's
it
just
doesn't work,
amazing.
I'm ready to pull my hair
Yeah.
out. But yeah,
So
so
great
it's good.
getting that done. Appreciate
yeah,
that.
Of course.
Yeah. And other than that, I mean, it's just we're right on the cusp here of giving some times and dates for people to start using some of the new AL rooms. I know we're doing a little bit of a party and helping those residents celebrate.
Yeah. And
you
it's
know.
been a fun process seeing that come together because, we've been talking about curating the art and all these things for so long, but then when you really see the space and you see some things pulling together, that's satisfying.
And
for
it'll
sure.
be, I know of, you know more than I do, but, Travis Mayhew shared with me one item for Tides Lounge.
That's gonna be nice.
hopefully this week I'll be picking up a print from the Mariners Museum that's fascinating, that
Yeah,
will
okay.
frame, and I think we have a special spot for that, and maybe other things with our partnership with them.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
But with
Nancy
residents,
Rogers,
just
her
just so
system.
many possibilities, and just however it starts out will be fine. But I just think over time it can evolve.
There's a lot of space to
Yeah.
work with too, which
Yeah.
is exciting.
And there are display places, and you think about both shelves along the fireplace, and then the other walls. And again, we still put the advertisement out there. We have not identified a curator
I know,
yet.
yeah.
But if any resident would ever like to just help coordinate, move about, items that can be talked about, and it's not just there, it's also the 2 cabinets we have to the right of the Explorer room,
Right.
which would be wonderful. So just neat addition, and by the time you're watching this next week, we are hopeful to get the furniture placed in Tides Lounge.
Good.
Last week was pretty much, last week and early this week, finishing up all the flooring in assisted living on the first floor.
Sure.
A lot of pictures, a lot of art, draperies, adding color to the third floor is so important, and that's on our list. But it's getting there.
Yeah.
So
I love it. It's beautiful for sure.
I guess until next time,
I think that's
we'll be one
it.
step closer to Easter. We've already gotten
That's
you
right.
hinted about that with some things we've talked of. But have a great week, and thanks for joining us.
See you next time.